Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Emperor's Voice podcast. I am Emperor K, and I will be your host for this week's show. And we will be discussing all the latest gaming news from Sunday, the 4th of October, to Friday, the 9th of October, 2015. And on the headlines today, BBC is going to broadcast a League of Legends final from Wembley, and it will be the very first time that the event will be broadcasted through a UK audience. And keeping on the topic of League of Legends, the developer Riot now owns G2A, which is their official sponsor for all of their tournaments. And of course, a big one, there is still no release date for No Man's Sky. It's been a long while since we've ever seen more details of No Man's Sky, but the developer of the game showed off some of the gameplay content on an American talk show. And if you want to leave a comment on the show, please do so on the Facebook page or on the comments below the video. And later on during the podcast, I will be explaining some more content for this podcast. I will be talking about two things, actually. One will be the Emperor's topic, which will be something that's somewhere at the end of the show, and Ask the Emperor, where you actually get to ask me a question through Facebook or YouTube. Details will be coming on later on in the show, so please stay tuned. And let's go on to the first topic of the week. The BBC is to stream a live League of Legends final from Wembley, and it's actually going to be a really big event. The event is taking place between October the 15th to the 18th. If you don't know what dates they are, it's a Thursday through to a Sunday. It's going to be the very first time that the BBC will be broadcasting a esports final. It's a collaboration between the show with the for the E3 and BBC Sport, and it's going to be pretty big, ladies and gentlemen. Believe me. If you've never seen an esports contest, go on YouTube and type in either StarCraft 2 esports or League of Legends esports. But let's stick with League of Legends right now, because they've been most of the news this week, because Riot, the company that makes League of Legends and produces more content by adding new heroes, they've actually purchased G2A, which is actually the esports sponsor for Riot, and it's going to be used to target esports around the world. It's going to prove that Riot is really, really determined to keep their esports recognized throughout the world. It's actually going to be a really good, to be honest. If you think about it, League of Legends is it's a really big game, and if you've never seen a match before, or if you've never played one, first I recommend watching it on YouTube, because it's a really good game. I've played it myself before, and let me explain it to you. So if you don't know what a MOBA is, I will explain everything. A MOBA is a massively online battle arena. It's basically 5 players against another 5 players, and whoever destroys the other team's core, the base for all where their monsters spawn, the team that destroyed that core is declared the winner. And it's really tricky, but it's fun to do. I've got a couple of characters on League of Legends myself, and it's really fun once you've got the hang of it. There are other MOBA games like Heroes of the Storm and Dota 2, who, if you don't know, a MOBA is originally Defense of the Ancients, and it originally came from a Warcraft 3 mod. If you've never even heard of those games, I recommend that you search them. And, it's this League of Legends tournament live from Wembley. It's a pretty big deal to everyone. It could be a pretty big deal to everyone here in the UK, because you may never have seen an actual live event like League of Legends. If you've never done anything like that, I highly recommend that you do watch a couple of videos and understand. And this is gonna be this League of Legends Wembley thing. It's gonna really bring out esports to the UK because we are a small country. I must admit, but we've never had a lot of esports tournaments. Well, with the League of Legends that's gonna come to the UK, we could actually be we could actually understand the game a little bit more. We could also understand we could also adapt esports to TV programming. It could be a really good idea if as long as the event goes well and nothing bad happens, it's really gonna take a positive effect. No matter what happens, I I think the League of Legends tournament for these 4 days is gonna leave a mark. It's gonna create history, ladies and gentlemen. If you don't believe me, I recommend that you watch the League of Legends throughout the BBC iPlayer, because I'm trying to get the show to maybe record on the Skybox, but I don't think I will. I'll probably have to watch it on my tablet. Oh, this is gonna be fun. This will be my first ever esports competition that I've watched here in the UK. So it's definitely gonna be fun. Do you agree that the esports is going to leave a mark? Please leave a comment on the Facebook page or leave a comment on the YouTube channel, and I will read them. If you agree with me, do give me a like. If you don't, man, it's your choice. Let's go on to the next topic. No Man's Sky still has no release date, even though the creator of the game, Sean Murray, he was on an American talk show showing off the game to the brand new host. I believe it was Stephen Colbert. Yeah, it is Stephen Colbert. He was impressed by No Man's Sky. It was announced at E3 here on the PlayStation panel, and it was actually a really beautiful looking game. I saw the whole E3 experience back in June, and it was really wonderful. I definitely want to stay up late at night and watch another E3. I don't know about you, but I really enjoy those E3 shows. It's gonna be if you've never played a sandbox game, let me explain. It's basically where you get to do anything you want, but No Man's Sky, this is completely different. It allows you to explore planets by driving a spaceship and landing on a planet to explore the fauna and flora of the world that you've landed. You can discover all of this awesome planet's wildlife. You can see monsters, you can see exotic flowers, and the great thing about this game is the content is continuously generated. So if you've explored one planet, another planet is definitely going to come up for you to explore. And the beauty of No Man's Sky, it's always expanding. It's never ending. Even if you've explored one planet or another player has explored about 5, there's always another planet for you to explore. It's never ending. You always get to explore planets. And that's the beauty of it. It's never ending. The developer Sean Murray actually showed some of the content, like I said, on an American show called The Late Show, and it actually brought up a question to me, which I don't know whether or not you agree with this, but do you think game developers, game studios like Hello Games, Climax Studios, or maybe Lionshead, do you think that they actually now deserve a spot on not only American talk shows, but talk shows in general, like Graham Norton or Jonathan Ross? This is a pretty interesting topic, because no game developer has ever gone to a talk show to talk about their upcoming games. It's normally just game dedicated TV shows like Video Game Nation here in the UK, but do you think it's about time that game developers, game studios in general, actually deserve to be on the game show because, well, their game actually blew the roof off at game conferences like E3 or PAX or Gamescom. Just leave a comment on Facebook, on YouTube, and well, on the next podcast, I will go through all of them. Believe me, this is another topic that we have got to discuss about, and it could actually change the landscape of the gaming community. Maybe it's about time that we all put our foot in the ground and say, look, we're human beings ourselves. Why can't games be part of culture? So let's get into some consumer-related news, and we're going to start off with a service called PlayStation Now. It's officially launched in the UK, and it now has a subscription price for $12.99 a month, and basically you can now stream over 100 PlayStation 3 games to any Sony registered device, like the Sony Bravia TVs, the PS4, or if you like your gaming on the go, the Vita. It's actually a pretty useful service. Basically, if you pay $12.99 a month, that's £12.99. You can stream over 100 different games. I took a look at the service myself, and there were some games that I liked, but I won't go into detail about them. But it's a pretty useful service. If you've done something like Netflix, which streams films or TV shows, it's PlayStation Now is something like that. Instead of TV shows, it actually streams PlayStation 3 games, and it's quite a useful service. It's been in beta for a while in America, and I think this is the very first time. This is now the first official news about the PlayStation Now coming out of beta and moving into a subscription service. But if you don't know about PlayStation Now, I can go into a bit detail about it. The PlayStation Now, if you don't want a monthly subscription, you can actually stream a game from the PlayStation Store for 2 days for about £3. That's something like pocket change. You could buy a game for about 40 to £45, but if you don't want to, the memory to be clogged up on your games console, you can instantly stream it. It's quite a handy service. I've never actually used Netflix or the PlayStation Now service, but looking at the catalog of games that are on it, it's definitely one of the more interesting streaming services that I've seen in a while. And being a gamer myself, I really like my games. I've played a lot of the Ratchet and Clank games. I've also played some of the God of War, and this is definitely a service that can see a lot of positive change. But the £13 a month, I'm a little swayed by it. I'd definitely stream a game for about £3 just to basically see if I can complete it within the 2 days. It looks like a lot of, it looks really useful if you're on a budget of sorts. I definitely recommend a 2-day trial for PlayStation Now, and it officially started on the 9th, which was yesterday, and it should be a really good service. If you want to get your hands on the PlayStation Now game, just go to the PlayStation Store on your PS4, your PlayStation Vita, or if you got a Sony Bravia TV with a PlayStation controller but no PlayStation itself, don't worry, you can connect your controller and instantly start playing through the Sony Bravia TV. It's quite useful. So, do you think streaming services have now started to change thanks to PlayStation Now? Do leave a comment on Facebook. And sticking with the consumer news, game stores now have a dedicated Steam aisle in all of their shops. Steam is an official PC gaming service from Valve that allows you to buy and download PC games directly onto your PC, and it's quite a useful service. Right now, Valve and the Steam service have been going have been making an impact. The devices will be set to launch on the 10th of November. This is quite a big step because if you've never been to a if you have been to a game store but you don't like secondhand games, but you do like PC games, but there isn't a lot of PC stuff. Well, games now going to have their own dedicated Steam aisle, and there's going to be some Steam content merchandise. There's going to be controllers, and I believe that the Steam engine is also going to be in the game aisle. So, it did work in North America. Well, no, it hasn't worked in North America. Sorry. It could definitely work. Well, I believe it will work in the UK. But it all depends on how popular Steam has been. If you're a Steam user and you like all the Steam services that are happening, like the developing tools or the early access games, this could be well. Do you agree with the idea of Valve having the Steam sections, well, a Steam section in the game store, or a place to leave a comment? Because well, I'm a Steam user myself, and I've got a couple of Steam games, but well, I gotta admit, I haven't been on my PC in a while. Well, but Steam section, it does sound really, really promising. It could drive in more customers, and well, it's definitely a very good idea. But the one concern that I have is the size of the stores, because there are I've been to a few game stores here in the UK myself, and they aren't really that large. It's all compressed. The game store or that I usually go to, it's really large, but there was this one time where the game store was actually where their pay counters was actually against a wall down the hallway, and at the time it felt really, really cramped. That's the word, yeah, cramped. And now in the present day, it's moved to the door where all the stock is kept, so that the staff can have easy access to all of their merchandise that's not on the shelves. And well, with the Steam section coming, it could be prove to be a bit of a challenge to try and not only keep their current level of stock, but also include the Steam aisle. It could be a really, really tough challenge for them. But it could be really good. You don't have to look at all the negatives. You gotta look at all the positives. It could bring up sales up in the game, and we could actually see the the game stores stay alive in the UK. Do you agree with the current idea of Steam having their own section in game stores? Would you like to see more game stores besides game here in the UK? Do leave a comment on Facebook. Okay, we're gonna stay on the consumer part, and this is an interesting article. Destiny is about to get their microtransactions into the game. It will start from Tuesday the 13th of October, and it will now allow Destiny players to buy dances for their characters. If you ever heard of a microtransaction, that's good for you, but for those who haven't, let me explain. It's basically where you purchase content in the game and have it immediately installed for your account. If you've played games like World of Warcraft or Rusty Hearts or any online game that allows microtransactions, you will understand where I'm coming from, because this is actually something of great interest. Well, Destiny is a PS4, the Xbox. It's a console game. It's also an online first-person shooter where you can team up with two other friends and go out to other planets to shoot monsters. the microtransactions, it's quite an interesting feature to include now from Tuesday. Normally, microtransactions I'm not really fussed about. It's something that you can do for a treat, or do something silly with your friends and post it online on YouTube. The microtransaction system, it really wasn't brought out in the first Destiny game, but well, with the Taken King now officially released, and all these emotes that have now been announced, it's something of a something interesting for me, because normally I'm not fussed about microtransactions, but microtransactions for something like dances and emote functions in the game, it's not something that you normally talk about. The microtransactions, like I normally see in World of Warcraft, it's normally for something like battle pets or mounts or some special features like race change or faction change. I did use some of the features in World of Warcraft myself, but I've never done so for a game like Destiny, and I have never actually used my actual money to buy a mount or a pet. It's really I have no idea what the word is, but you've got to play a game like World of Warcraft or Rusty Hearts to understand microtransactions, and nowadays online games have now started to include microtransactions. And speaking of online games, if you've ever played WildStar, it has officially been free to play, and it was originally an subscription based game, and where you have to pay to play the game. It's something a little bit like Warcraft, but I'm way, of course, now I'll stick to microtransactions. Do you think microtransactions is a good thing for Destiny to have? And what kind of an impact would it have for you, the gamers? Do you think it would be really big, or something like a light gentle breeze, or you don't really like microtransactions yourself? Do leave a comment on Facebook. And I want to go back to the WildStar topic. It turned free to play about 2 weeks ago, and I've started to play WildStar myself. It's a really good game, to be honest. It's normally you get to normally I'm a big online player myself, but free to play, I don't think that would have been a good idea for Carbine Studios to do. It sounds like it's a really risky move, in my opinion. And well, this is going to be a topic for another week, but I want to ask. Well, I will put up a schedule for Ask the Emperor on Facebook on Sunday. So do make sure that you keep an eye on the Facebook page. So is free to play a good idea, or is it really, really bad? And that'll be a thought for you for 2 whole weeks. So do think about it carefully, and we will talk about it on the next Emperor's Voice podcast. And now let's go on to some upcoming games. Let's start off with a game called Divinity Original Sin. It's actually got a release date now for everyone in the UK. If you played the original Divinity Original Sin on the PC and you want to go onto the console version, like PS4 or Xbox, it'll be officially released on October 27th, 2015, and well, it was originally announced for October in the past, but now we've actually got a release date. And if you don't know what Divinity Original Sin is, it's something like dungeon exploring, like, well, Diablo style. Well, you get to create a character class, give it a name, and then you go out doing a quest, a storyline for your character. And you have to try and make sure that not only does your character not die, but you also have to complete the objectives. It's basically survival dungeon style. Well, it's a lot of fun. I've played Diablo 2 and 3, and I've also played a game called Torchlight. And those games were really good, I have to say. Um, Divinity Original Sin. I have. It looks like it's a really good game, in my opinion. It's the new features for Divinity 2 Original Sin. Uh, it's got split screen co-op play. So if you got a friend around and you want to play Divinity, you just pick up your second game's controller and off you go. It's really simple. Well, this is quite an interesting game because we've normally when you do dungeon exploring, like Diablo or Torchlight, it's always fantasy based. You've never ever seen. Have you ever seen a sci-fi or modern day style of Diablo based games? That could be an interesting topic on the podcast. So if you do know of one, please do share on Facebook. If you don't, do you think it's about time that a modern day Diablo game was released? And do leave a comment on Facebook, and well, it could be a topic for the Emperor's topic. It sounds like a really fun idea to me. And what do you think? But back to Divinity. The enhanced. It's the 25th of October. 27th, sorry. The 27th of October. It will be the Divinity Original Sin will be an enhanced edition. So this is actually gonna be more detailed, new features, and it's gonna show not only just how good it's originally been since the PC release, but do you think that co-op play is one of the good features of the Divinity game or Diablo-based game? Because we all know that well, you may not know, but Diablo has been officially released for the PS3, PS4, Xbox One, and Xbox 360 in the past. When it was when Diablo 3 was officially released announced for PS3 and PS4, I was a bit skeptical about the control layout, how the game would work. But this content, I knew it would be Diablo 3 because I played and completed it twice. The first time was the original launch. The second time was Reaper of Souls, and I quite enjoyed that game. If you've played Diablo games before in the past, do try and find other games like Diablo on the internet. It's something that it could be a game that you've heard about but you've never played before, it's one of those experiences that you got to try before you buy. In sort of a sense. But yeah, Divinity Original Sin official release date 27th of October this year. So if you played the original Divinity, please leave a comment on Facebook and tell me how your experience with Divinity was. Now let's go on to some video game announcements. If you've played Metroid Prime and know the developer Armature, they have announced a game called Dead Star. It's a 10v10 multiplayer game that will be coming out for PS4 and PC. And it looks really good, ladies and gentlemen. It's got 10v10 multiplayer capabilities, so if you got a group of 10 people, if you're a group of 10 and you enjoy playing games like this, it's really interesting. It's a top-down arcade shooter. If you've played a game something like Dead Star, or a shooting game, then this is definitely something of interest for you. It will have spaceship configurations that will allow you to change not only the appearance of the ship, but also the strengths and the weaknesses of your selected ship. So it's got quite a lot of customizable features in the game. So it's definitely one that you have got to keep an eye out for. Or Armature have also got Recore coming out for Xbox One soon. Uh, well, Armature, I think they've been really busy ever since Metroid Prime. And it's well, we never hear a lot from game developers like Armature that have done wonders like Metroid Prime or like Climax Studios Rocket Knight. This is one of those games that well, when you watch the trailer, you think, "Wow, what have I been playing?" Hey, well, a game like this is gonna be coming out. You've definitely got to keep your eye out for for games like this. It's really wonderful. And from the trailer that I've seen for Dead Star, it really looks like one of those fun games that you can play. Um, it's highly addictive, and it could be one of those big hits like Rocket League. I tried out Rocket League myself, and well, I I really didn't get far myself in the tournament, but I will be playing a bit of it some other time. But yeah, Armature has announced Dead Star, and it will be released for PS4 and PC. So keep your eyes out. I know I will. And if you like what you've seen with, well, if you've never seen the Dead Star trailer, go to YouTube and type it in the search engine. It's really one of those games that looks like it's about to make a huge impact on the multiplayer scene. Maybe I don't think it could be bigger than Call of Duty or Rocket League, but it's one of those games that could be like a hidden gem. You find it, and it will, and if you polish it bright enough, it could shine like a diamond. So, well, yeah, definitely one of the games that you've got to keep your eye out for. Or Dead Star will be coming out for 2016, early 2016. I'll keep my eyes open on the news for that game. And another game that has been announced for the PS4 on PC, and now also for Xbox One, a game called Indivisible. Yeah, I've never heard of that word myself. Well, I've had to find out the definition of the word indivisible. If you've heard of divisible, it basically means capable of being divided evenly without a remainder. So if you were to say 8 divided by 4, that's 2. That's basically nothing like a 2.5 or 2.3. Basically a fair divided number. Indivisible basically means a number that can't be divided evenly. Without any left remaining numbers. So from what I could tell by the trailer, it looks pretty good. It's an action RPG. If you played Dust and Elysian's Tale, the style is like that. But if you've played Skullgirls, the company that has created Skullgirls in the past, this will be the company that will be creating Indivisible alongside 505 Games, sorry, and it looks like one of those promising RPGs. But I was a little confused during the gameplay trailer about the combat for the game, because it looks like there's two parts to it, and I have exactly no idea what will be happening in the game. It's definitely one of those games that could, it's gathered a lot of money. According to an article, it's seeking to raise $1.5 million towards the development of the game. And it looks well. It could be one of those games where it's acquired a lot of money, but it might not sell well on the download market. Do you think a game like Indivisible could actually be successful on a fundraising website like Indiegogo, or do you think big studios like Activision and Lionshead still have complete dominance on the game market? leave your comments on Facebook. We have got to keep our eyes out on games like Indivisible or Yooka-Laylee. Speaking of Yooka-Laylee, that's one of the games that's been on a crowdfunding website, and it actually has gathered a lot of money, ladies and gentlemen. It's actually the spiritual successor of Banjo-Kazooie, and I'm actually looking forward to Yooka-Laylee coming out in the near future. It could be one of those really good all-style platforming games and that we missed so much from the late 90s, early noughties. It's one of those games that I'm looking forward to, really going back into my childhood. This is definitely one of those topics where we have got to, we raise the question another day. So that's everything on the news side. So let's go on down to the other topic. Well, to some of the subjects that I brought up earlier in the show. Let's start off with the Empress topic. This will be a topic where I ask. Well, where I leave you who are wondering about a certain topic. Next week, if you've ever heard of Dragon Quest, I've pre-ordered the Dragon Quest Heroes Collector's Edition for PS4, and this is a question that I'd like you to put onto Facebook and share with not only me, but also the listeners to this podcast. Have you ever purchased a collector's edition for a game? And please explain to me why you bought that collector's edition. Because, for the Dragon Quest, I enjoyed I played the 8th game of the series, and I really, really enjoyed it. And I really wish that they brought out the Dragon Quest 8 HD remake, like they're doing with the Final Fantasy 10s and the 12, and they've done the Final Fantasy 10, but I really would like to enjoy playing the full remake for Final Fantasy VII that was announced at E3 in 2015, and I was really, really blown right out of my socks when that game was re-announced. It's definitely one of those games that, it could be one. It could have a collector's edition, but if it does, I would definitely buy it. Would you, if you were a big Final Fantasy VII fan? So here's the question: Do you buy collector's editions? And if so, why? And what's your favorite collector's edition out of all your collection? Please post it on Facebook using the hashtag #TheEmperor'sTopic. The details will come on a Facebook post really soon. And for our final subject, it's Ask the Emperor, where you get to ask me, Emperor K, a question. Just one question per post, ladies and gentlemen. All you have to do is write down your question, and after the question, use the hashtag #AskTheEmperor. I will probably answer your question on the next podcast, as you could get a mention on on the podcast, and hopefully I will have answered your question. This is have you ever heard of a podcast that's done something like this before? Just pop it on Facebook, and I will find out about it, see how good it was. Well, unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, that's it for this week. It's been wonderful talking to all of you, and I hope to look forward to doing the next podcast next week. So, happy gaming!